We have a powerful keynote address by Mr. Madan Bahal, co-founder and managing director of Adfactors PR. Founded in 1997 by Rajesh Chaturvedi and Madan Bahal, Adfactors PR is India's largest independent PR firm. Over the last 25 plus years, Mr. Bahal has led Communication Council in several milestone events of corporate India, including fundraisers, IPOs, mergers and acquisitions, disputes, litigations, issues, and crises. In September 22, the Author W. Page Society inducted Mr. Bahal into its Hall of Fame. He is also the recipient of several other prominent recognitions, including the Eco Hall of Fame in November 2017, Provokes Individual Outstanding Achievement in Asia Pacific in September 2013, Communicator of the Decade by PRCI, and the Lifetime Achievement Award by the PRSI. A vocal advocate of continuous learning and development for PR practitioners, Mr. Bahal is deeply regarded for his contributions to the PR profession in India. Today, as he joins us for REPRISE, he will delve deeper into the state of Indian PR. Mr. Bahal, it is an honor to have you with us here. May we have you on stage, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a difficult task to speak after Mr. Arun Maira and his profound wisdom gathered and distilled over the decades and the earlier speakers. But I have been asked to deliver a speech. Amit Prabhu doesn't let me come to Praxis and speak. So once you speak, then you're banned for 14 years. But REPRISE, he was kind enough. So here we are. He mentioned it as a keynote address, but I have taken the literal definition of the term keyword. It means to address or highlight or provide some thought on the issues that the constituency is dealing with or facing, and in this case, our industry. I think I'll set a little context. Normally, I would not like to speak about what the firm has done or we have done, but it's only for the sake of context. I've been a fellow practitioner with all of you for the last 40 years, of which 27 years has been this firm Adfactors PR. And about 12 years before, we were an advertising agency that had liberal amount of work in public relations, because we're doing a lot of capital market work. It's a wonderful profession that one has been traveling, and by choice I gave up advertising and came here. It helps you find a little higher purpose in life. And if I had to choose this profession or choose a vocation all over again, I will say public relations it is. I'm not going to do anything else. It helps me solve complex problems. It helps me address new things every day, new challenges every day. And I don't think any other professional service is as challenged as public relations. And I'm referring to, for example, the legal profession. A lawyer in a humble law firm practices one law. All of them have gone to only one law school, done the same curriculum, practiced one law in the same court. Our life is influenced by a million variables which change every day. And therefore, it is a challenging profession. It requires us to be at our best. One has had the privilege of working with a large number of, I don't think there is any large Indian corporate for which we have not had the privilege or the opportunity to serve. Whether it's the Tatas or the Birlas or the Mahindras or the Godrej, you name it, and we have done, at some point or the other, we have done some significant work for them. For about 32 years since the reforms, one has had a ringside view of what's happening in corporate India, whether it was through the first hostile acquisition or the spate of contentious mergers and acquisitions, the largest IPOs at any given point in time, or the demergers or boardroom disputes, whether it was the Tata versus Mistry or Gangwal versus Bhatia, anything significant that has happened in corporate India, one has had the privilege of being somewhere over there to play a little part, for which we are grateful to the business ecosystem of the. We have done this with pride, with dignity. We have not worked for tobacco for all 32, 35 years. We have not worked for alcohol. We have not worked for meat processing. We have not worked for gambling. We have not worked, except in the capital markets, of course. We have not worked for politicians and political parties. We work for the governments. We have not worked for colas, Pepsi, or Coca-Cola as a matter of choice. कि नहीं करना है इनका काम. Right or wrong is a matter of debate, but you pick up your positions in life and you do it. So it is out of that we have practiced our business. In the years of the pandemic, we took up our responsibility. Not a single person in Adfactors was terminated, not one. Not a single person was asked to take a salary cut. And there were some 1,000 people, not a few. We did the same in the global economic downturn. I'm just raising this context that if I make a few comments today, it is with this understanding and with this background and having seen a fair amount of what happened in this country and to this industry for a long, long time. We had the years of the pandemic. Now, the world has been moving at a very, very fast pace, changed. But the pandemic became a very, very significant disruptor. So if you take the 2 years of the pandemic, that was one life. And then the years of the pandemic, I think the change process got accelerated, even worse. We had Ukraine, we had Gaza, we had ChatGPT, we had various issues precipitating natural events because of climate, and of course in January this year, we had a massive earthquake in the United States, whose tremors and it was 10 on 10 on the Richter scale. And its tremors have been felt all over the world, and we are still to experience some more, even in India. So it is in this kind of circumstances where almost everything that can potentially get more complicated has got more complicated, that you and me, as professionals, have to practice our craft, have to provide some perspective, some thought, some knowledge, some wisdom, some position we have to take to help our organizations if we are in the comms side, or our clients if we are on the agency side. And if some of you are from the media, then you have to interpret what is happening and interpret it for the rest of the world. It's a complex world. The potential impact of this are depending on how you look at the world. It is either an exponential opportunity, because the more complex it gets, the better for public relations. Because there are so many more problems, so many more friction points between stakeholders, so many more issues, so many more crises, so many stakeholders to engage, and therefore we should actually be doing very, very well. Now, hypothetically, that's correct. But if you look at data points, what has happened is that exponential opportunity is veering on the side of what you might call existential threat. Maybe we have not experienced it yet here, but some of you read the Provoke media, if not all. There's a particular global publication that talks about all of us. If you read it a week ago or two, it said that the world's largest public relations firm, you know the firm, I'm not necessarily naming it, had a degrowth of 5%. Now, this was a firm that was growing for 25 years every year. It is a great firm. It's a phenomenal firm. It's not even, you don't even have the excuse of, oh, this is a network-owned firm, therefore there is a bureaucracy, therefore there is this. It's an independent, entrepreneur-driven firm in the second generation, and that had a degrowth of, now it was not the first year it had a degrowth, it was the second year. And the outlook for the year ahead, not only for that firm, for the rest of the industry, is not very optimistic as per the murmurs and some research that's been published and so on. If you go to a year back headlines early in March in 24, it said that the global PR industry had a flat growth of 0.5%. If you take the top 250 firms, 0.5%, of which 70% had degrown. Marginal degrowth, but degrown. So क्या हुआ? The American economy was doing well. The stock markets were doing phenomenally well. The job data was robust. The tech sector was booming. Many other sectors were doing well. And what happened then to the PR firm or the PR industry, which was supposed to do very well under those circumstances? Kuch to hua. If you take back that whole argument closer home in India, now we hear or we read that this industry is 3,500 crores or thereabouts. Well, one might argue it's 2,500 crore or 3,500 crore, but it's somewhere over there. Maybe it's somewhere between 2,200 and 3,500 crores. But if you take the balance sheets of the top 20 firms and you exclude one out of it at the top, the remaining 20 don't have a combined profit of even 100 crores. If you have some 5, 6, 7,000 people working in an industry in the top 20 firms and they're not able to collectively produce 100 crores of profit, kuch to hua. To kya hua? What is it? Because the Indian economy was one of the best economies in the world. The Indian markets were at an all-time high. The general sentiment of the corporate world was, well, it's a great time. And yet the PR industry has had to struggle or has had to put in a lot of effort just to be where it is. And that raises the issue on what the... I was about 2 weeks ago meeting a CEO. So the conversation went, and this firm had at some point appointed recently McKinsey to give them some advice on how to grow, how to restructure, how to look at the decade ahead. And I'm taking the liberty of saying some of these things because there's a fairly mature audience. I don't see too many account executives here. Not that they can't understand, but I see a fairly mature crowd here. So when we got chatting, the early findings that McKinsey gave them as a consulting firm, not that McKinsey is God and McKinsey knows everything, but whatever they came up with, said 95% of the PR firms in the world, and they talked about the top 100, don't have an underlying strategy for themselves. 95%. I'm quoting that gentleman. The second thing they said was almost 2/3 of them won't be in the same position that they are today in the next 5 years. Third, of course, even relates to people like us. In fact, all relates to people like us. Is there are generational issues where succession issues have not been carefully planned out, and that is going to be another source of uncertainty for these firms. So it is more firm related, but it reflects the general situation in the industry. So to put it mildly, we have a situation. Is that reflecting? Well, so far I'm talking about what is happening to me and what is impacting me, but is anyone in the room immune? There are early signs of wage stagnation. There are early signs of probably even wage deflation. It is not, I meet a lot of people, I interview a lot of people, I speak to a lot of people. So I'm speaking from experience. We catch patterns very early. So these signs are there. And if these signs are there, and on top of that, the macro factors of uncertainty that are going on, something is serious enough that we need to address. For the firm like me, it will be my strategy. I'll do something. I will have to do something. For a smaller firm, it will have to have its own strategy. For a digital firm, even a digital firm, one of the largest, most well-known firm, if you look at this balance sheet, 200 crores revenue, 5 crore margin. This is supposed to be a very, very creative firm. Uska naam, some bank, something like that its name is. So if it is affecting, the advertising guys have not grown. If you see Ogilvy's balance sheets, Linta's balance sheets, HTA balance sheets, they're all flat or degrowing. Margins are shrinking. And the difference between existential threat and exponential opportunity is a 10% margin. You lose that, you're struggling then to hire, struggling then to upgrade, struggling then to coach, struggling to put technology, artificial intelligence, whatever you might. And if some of us have underestimated because the tech guys and the AI guys will spread a narrative that AI is good for the world. Yeah, it may be good for the world. Is it good for you and me? I don't know. It is a problem not only for the profession like public relations, it's a problem for any professional service provider. It's a problem of such scale and significance as it unfolds in the weeks and months and the years to come. We'll all be running for cover. And the middle class as it stands today, all over the world, is going to have a significant problem of even knowing how to survive in this world. So unless you run up, unless I run up, unless we all run up the hill in the tsunami that is coming, that is threatening us, we will have a difficult time. If you read the Financial Times London or the New York Times, you will see the scale of redundancies that are happening in the office-going person. Whether it's in the law firm, I have a friend there called Rahul Ahuja, he's my colleague. Yesterday he's telling me, look, day before, I wanted to draft a legal agreement and then I tried to find a lawyer and he was not available, so I put a prompt on ChatGPT and it gave me an input and output in 1 minute. And all I had to do was 2 small tweaks and it was good to go. Somebody lost some revenue. So it's a serious thing. Don't underestimate it. I am not underestimating it either. It's time for disruptive thinking and disruptive actions more than thinking. But this is easier said than done. Change is a very difficult process. And if all the people who know, I should know it. In September last year, we repositioned Adfactors as a reputation and critical issues advisory, as distinct from what it was earlier, knowledge-driven communications. And I said, while some of us will practice reputation and critical issues advisory, we have been doing it for some time. I want every single person, 1,000 client-facing consultants, to read one basic book. It's been 6 months and the score is currently only 50% of the people have read. They're okay to lose the job. They're okay to get a shouting. They're okay, but they don't want to read one book. By the way, in my interviews, 99% of the 100 people that I ask, have you read a single book on public relations? 99 say no. That is the state of the industry against such complexity. So this scale of response is not a workable solution. I'm worried about my own firm, I'm worried about my own leaders, I'm worried about our own ability to service our clients well enough in this world order. We are just trying. So the question would be, how do I picture myself, Adfactors? Assuming they still keep me there for the next 5 years, because the way things are going, they might throw me out soon. how do you picture yourself, whether you are an agency person or a comms person? I'm narrating one actual conversation with a comms head who got called by his managing director and said, भाई साहब आप क्या करते हो? बोले I do comms. It's a commodity company. It's not a very complex or active PR thing. आप क्या करते हो? I do public relations. Very good. उसमें क्या होता है? There's a new MD who has taken over. He said we do press relations, media relations, we do media intelligence, we write content, we even do something for the website. Acha, very good. This gentleman is at a remuneration range of about 1 crore, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs per year. Then the MD asked him, आपके साथ में भी एक बंदा काम करता है? बोले हाँ, वो क्या करता है? Well, he is my junior. How many years of experience? 10, 12 years. वो क्या करता है? वो भी यही करता है. सब कुछ वही करता है? बोला हाँ सब कुछ वही करता है. फिर आपकी क्या जरूरत है? This is, I'm not exaggerating, this is an actual conversation that I'm reporting, which my friend reported to me. So, maybe all of us don't have a situation as serious, but it is getting serious enough by the day. And the earlier we migrate, the earlier we jump off that heating tub and not stay there as a frog. Earlier we, like the deer in the headlights, we don't keep looking at the truck that is coming, but jump off the highway and save ourselves and do something about it. There is going to be trouble around. I'm really intrigued about this thing, that despite all this, we know it's coming. It's not that we don't know it's coming. But the general indifference to this situation of not acting enough or fast enough is surprising. You know, it reminds me of a passage or this part of Mahabharata. Have you heard of the Yaksha Prashnavali in Mahabharata? No? Some Indians here? It's called Yaksha Prashnavali. Okay, so here goes the story. In the jungle, when these Pandavas were banished from the Mahal palace, they were supposed to, for 14 years or something like that, be in the jungle. One day, wandering in the jungle, the 5 brothers went in search of water because they were very thirsty, it was very hot. They reached a pond, and the youngest one, Sahadev or Nakul, whatever his name was, he ran to the pond. When he reached there, this pond belonged to a Yaksha, which is a demigod. Yaksha is not a Rakshas. Yaksha is a Yaksha. So the Yaksha comes up from the water and says, "Khabardar, आप पानी नहीं पी सकते जब तक आप मेरे सब प्रश्नों का उत्तर नहीं दो." He was so thirsty, he said, तुम्हारी ऐसी की तैसी मैं तो पीता हूँ. जैसे पिया वो मूर्छित होकर गिर पड़ा. He just बेहोश हो गया. Then his other brother came. Same thing happened. Bhim came. Same thing happened. Arjun came. Same thing happened. And then the Yudhishthir said, "Where are the brothers? Why are they not coming?" So he goes there. And in that process, when he started to drink the water first, he saw his brothers lying there, very sad, but he still couldn't help. Again the voice came, "This is my lake, I am the owner. Unless you answer my questions, you will meet the same fate as your brothers." So Yudhishthira said, "I recognize you, sir, I'm really sorry, but please ask, you the wise one, you ask your questions." So it's a series of questions. It's one of the best chapters of philosophy. In fact, it has a lot of the Upanishads and Vedas distilled into that one conversation. But the last question was, what is the most amazing thing in the world? Can you tell me, dear Yudhishthira, what is the most amazing thing in the world? And Yudhishthira says, yes, ma'am? You know the answer. Fair enough. Good. So, yeah, very good. So he says, "I see countless people dying every day. Countless people dying every day. Yet the living go on as if they are never going to die. So some parallel I thought was there. Of course, in my dark moods, I sometimes refer to this. You would be familiar with Punjabi Bagh, पता है? सबको पता होगा. पंजाबी बाग में एक बहुत बड़ा funeral ground. It's the largest funeral ground in the country, with 64 pyres. It was very useful in the pandemic. On that ground, if you have been there, there's a huge mural of the Yamadev dragging people who are tied to him, and he's dragging them, of course, to death. The whole complexity around us is not exactly that, but if we don't act, it is something like that. It's that serious. Maybe I'm over here, you might think he's an old cynical man, but I see this happening all around. And therefore, our 15 minutes left, okay. Therefore, the thing is, what might we do? Who will succeed? Who will not? The answers are not easy to give. The single biggest thing I know is we have to do something and change. Wake up and do something tomorrow. If my whole organization cannot read one book, and the leaders, some of them who are sitting here, can't read it themselves or make their team members read it, I have a problem at hand. Forget the bigger orders of change. We had a 10-point change agenda. We called last year the year of the phoenix, meaning this year that is ending. But the phoenix didn't burn. On a 0 to 10 scale, if you ask me what is the change we really impacted out of the 0 to 10 scale, maybe 1.5. That's all. So change is a very difficult thing, and each one of us will have to just move up and say, "Nahi, I am not going to be a victim here. I am going to be the winner, because the winner is going to take all." There will be a vacuum, but nature and competition never leaves a vacuum. Vacuum gets filled up. Somebody is going to fill up that vacuum. So the faster, the better off we are, the better we would be. I'm finding it very difficult to hire new people, at least from this industry. Because when I put the metrics on what I'm seeking from them for 25, 26, 27, the complexity, people who have not read a single book, it's like people practicing cardiology without reading a single book on medicine. Forget cardiology. These examples may be stark, but people say, I read the newspapers. Oh, I read some books. I read some general fiction. But that's not good enough. You are a professional service. A professional service has a definition. That definition is you provide customized solutions. So the word is customized solutions to unique client problems. Every client is unique, the problem is equally unique, or even more unique. And the solution, therefore, cannot be a standard template of 2 press releases, 2 press conferences, 4 authored articles, 2 speaker opportunity, and something of that kind. It is not going to work. It worked so far, well, good. It's not going to work in the future. Then your client पैसा नहीं देता. हो सकता है प्रॉब्लम है, बट आप कुछ लेके जाओ, देता है क्लाइंट पैसा. So humility will be required. Continuous learning will be required. Continuous learning at the scale will be required. And if I have to put a single prescription, I will say, if you are not reading 1 hour every day and experimenting with every single day, including a Saturday and Sunday, and I'm not going into this debate about 80-hour week or 90-hour week, you know what happened. But I'll say you have to work hard. You don't work hard, chance nahi hai. I might still survive because maybe my competitors are even worse. Or you might survive. There's a guy sitting here, very, very sound guy, very fast growing company, Kaizen. And there are two sponsors there. You know what is common to them? One got an investor recently, and one is going public. Only they could afford to sponsor this event.
The person who's sitting on the top is already.
वो बेचारा गरीब आदमी है.
God bless Garib people.
So I think I have made the point. The second last one point is that the public relations is not a unidimensional practice today. It is at the intersection of multiple forces in society. You will have the legal regulatory thing, you'll have the policy, you'll have capital market, you'll have reputational challenges, you have activists of all kinds, you have whistleblowers inside. Lots of complex things are there. And therefore, the practitioner, one needs to have a broad general understanding of many of these things, but more importantly, the practitioner has to be able to work with many other people. In my own organization, I find people so egoistic that they don't work with other people. मुझे सब आता है. Why will I go? Unless you develop agile, collaborative teams to solve complex problems as a multi-specialist team, you will remain at the bottom end of the pyramid, where there is no money to make. You will just about survive. So these are some of the thoughts. I think if I'm sorry if I stretch the argument a little bit, if I hurt anybody, but it's time to act. And even if one person goes and does radical shifts to one's behavior tomorrow morning, I think this conversation would have been worth it. Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Amit from PepsiCo. I can assure you I'm that one radical person is going to definitely take away and make some changes. Very hard-hitting messages, and I think it's a wake-up call for all the PR professionals. I must say that. But on a lighter note, I just Googled and I was just checking Amazon, the top 5 books for PR and so forth. Would you like to recommend a few books for us? I definitely raise my hands to make sure I read them.
Please. Great idea. Wonderful. Congratulations. There is a series of books. Even somebody who has never read a book, there is a series of books by CIPR, the Certified Institute of Public Relations UK. Now, UK has a fairly mature industry. And therefore, these practitioners have written these books, 4 or 5 books. There's a whole collection. I think if you make everybody in the organization read that book, it is a great step forward. But of course, ChatGPT is a great support system. To the interested, there's a lot of support available. Thank you.
Hi, Madan. Asim here. Actually, he stole my question, but I still want to ask you, which is that one book that you recommended everybody in your organization to read? Can you tell us that? We would also want to read that.
Yeah. Now, PR is like the elephant and not 5 but 50 blind men. Because different. If you ask 5 people in even client organization, what is the expectation from PR, they give 5 different answers. If you ask 10 people what is the definition of PR, they give 10 different answers. And as you might be, Asim, aware, the PR industry went back some 7 or 8 years ago to redefine public relations. So to find a definition, after 100 years of Edward Barnes being in business, we had to find a common consensus definition, which means it's complicated. So if you had to bring it down from where I stand, I think reputation consulting is the hygiene part of it, the basic part of it. Whether it's a brand reputation, individual's reputation, corporate reputation. So if you were to start with reputation and things that impact reputation, and of course then if you advance your thinking, you go back some steps and say, it's like this definition that public relations is 90% behavior and 10% communications. The mistake that this whole industry has done for so many decades is that it got focused on the 10% communications bit, evidence-based communication, knowledge-driven communication, and all kinds of communications, 360-degree communications. But if I am a wise counselor, and if I am a wise comms individual who is guiding my board or managing director, I said, these are the points which are going to lead us into trouble in the first, because we are misaligned with the stakeholder here, and we should correct them preemptively. So I think reputation, consulting, and crisis has become endemic. So reputation, risk, and crisis, this is the body of study that every person must very quickly undergo.
Madan, always a pleasure to hear you speak. We go back many years. So now, I think I resonated with a lot of things that you spoke about, especially being at the helm of public relations and CSR for a very reputed Japanese company. I face these challenges every other day because we work with a group of people who probably don't understand what public relations brings to the table. Thankfully, I have a chairman who understands what PR does, so makes my life a little simpler. But having said that, I have two questions or comments. I absolutely agree with everything that you said because I faced those challenges. That what the current state of PR. And when I started my career 25 years ago, public relations was a rising star. There were only 10 PR firms in the country, right? And today there are so many. And what has happened along the way is that, everybody spoke about the fact that PR needs to get a seat on the table, in the boardroom. It happened. But now I find that people are starting to question again PR's efficacy in the systems. It's because we as an industry probably have not been able to figure out the measurement the way marketing has. So that's one challenge we are already facing. I don't know what industry wants to do about that because I attended so many forums on measurements, I haven't got the right answer as yet. The second point that I would like to make here is that, and a question actually for you specifically, that you spoke about the state. Is there any session that you would do later which will talk about what next?
I'll be happy to, ma'am. I will be happy to. Amit Prabhu, or if some of you just gather, I'm getting old now. You can see that. And if some of you have noticed, I have even a slight problem with the right knee, and because there's a popular saying in Hindi, akal ghutne mein hoti hai, so my akal is also getting because of the right knee trouble. But I'll be very happy to come and share all the wisdom. It's not proprietary. If 40 years of learnings cannot be shared with the industry at large or the nation at large, then it's a very sad, self-centered kind of approach to life. So very happy. Whenever anybody can give me a call, I come to Delhi or Bangalore every week. So happy to. Yeah, you can. Amit will advise you on what are the options available, but looking forward.
Glad to meet you here again. My first professional presentation 20 years back I made to you as an intern at Adfactors. So pleasure to be asking you this question because the state of the industry, you've been one of the largest and most, you've trained so many. What do you think is next for getting the right talent in the industry? Because you said you can't hire. So what should we as industry, as you as a leader, you're doing about it?
I think there are two parts that I'm looking at a solution, and I'm right now answering from what one is doing in one's own firm. At the manager level and below, I think there is hope to train them over 3, 4, 5 years continuously with some 250 hours of training is required. It's not some one day, aa jao koi ek session karke somebody comes from abroad and does something and goes away. Not that kind of training. There are complex things to be taught. The communication school, except score, of course. The communication school curriculum is a little outdated. The real world is a little more complicated. Managers we can save still. The account executives have better hope. But the leadership level, there's a crisis. There's a crisis of leadership level. And therefore, some of them who show some agility should be encouraged, inspired. We have right now one person sitting not California, San Francisco, doing what is called as the Abundance Conference. Elon Musk is addressing it tomorrow. Some Google guys address it. It's a conference. Last week, there were 3 of them in the Yale University doing a Page Society and Yale program. So wherever there are sparks, there is interest, enthusiasm, then we should wholesale invest in it. And if the profit dips by another 10%, so be it. There's no other option. But is that fast enough as a solution? The answer is my house is burning right now. My clients are in stress right now. They don't know. At 8 o'clock, they will call me and say, well, some SEBI notice has come and मैं क्या करूं? That quality of consulting, I think we'll have to take some easy recourse to get folks from other disciplines. And there, fortunately, we are finding that the pricing is not a barrier. In fact, we are getting senior lawyers at a lower price than senior communication professionals. Or senior, even people from the big 4 are easier to get. And there they're having a reverse problem. Why are they leaving and coming? Usko udhar 20 hours per day काम नहीं करना है. अपने यहाँ बोले 10 घंटे से ज़्यादा काम मत करो बस. Good. So we are solving the problem by taking talent from other disciplines. Even journalism is not helping beyond a certain point, because the perspective that you need to strategize and plan, people who are trained only to find problems in the world, that's a core competence. A journalist has to see what is wrong with the world, because it's a watchdog profession. They have to interpret the wrongs of society. But my job is to solve the problem. My job is to provide a solution when somebody is raising a problem. That's why I'm there. And I cannot then become idealist or pretentious or anything. I have to do my job to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bahal, for that immensely insightful session. I request Amit to kindly come up on stage and present Mr. Bahal with a Sparkle gift card. Thank you.